So we managed stand-ups now. Let's go to the backlog refinement. I said earlier already that backlog refinement can be part of the Agile ceremonies, but it could be also a task what is done for multiple people or one person. Product owner is the master of the backlog, as we learned already. Backlog refinement is also one of the ceremonies where AI can help you a lot, and I will show it to you how it looks like. It's at the moment more experimental, but I'm sure in a couple of months, backlog refinement and AI are a really good couple. Backlog refinement can be a separate ceremony, often done mid-sprint. It's where you tidy your backlog, reorder priorities, elaborate on acceptance criteria, and estimate upcoming work, so your next planning session isn't chaos. It's sometimes called grooming or refinement, and it's an important part, a really, really important part of your Agile structure. Refinement is an ongoing process. So maybe you spend an hour a week grooming the top backlog items. You confirm they are still relevant and have the right detail and the right size. The small investment pays off when sprint planning arrives because your backlog items are already well formed. Important is also that you bring the right people together. So sometimes backlog refinement can be done from the product owner by him or herself. But in some cases, you need the dev team to ask questions about how can we solve it technical or how to estimate the effort. Or you need an UI or UX person for creating a new design for something. It makes sense that the backlog refinement or grooming is not a super heavy structure in your sprint. Do it some more ad hoc when you need it as a meeting. Try to do it as a product owner by yourself, because this will save a lot of time to the team. But don't forget that latest in the planning, the whole team should understand the priorities and why we are doing these things. So what are the key activities? Prioritize which items are on the top. Clarify what is the acceptance criteria. Estimate with story points or t-shirt sizes. Or split larger stories in smaller stories. These are the 4 important activities in the backlog refinement. They can somehow overlap with the planning. So always when you have the feeling you do something double, try to put it in the backlog refinement or grooming first instead of the planning session. So this will shorten your planning session. Like splitting, for example, super big tickets into smaller ones. This could be done with a one-to-one meeting with a potential developer for these tickets and with just communication and collaboration. How can this ticket be splitted in smaller sizes? Also for the estimations, this is a classic thing which can be done in a preparation of meetings instead of doing it all together in one meeting. It depends a little bit which structure you have chosen. So when you have chosen team estimations, then yes, you do it in the meeting, like with poker planning or something like that. If you have chosen, no, every person should estimate their own tickets, or the product owner is estimating the tickets, or the scrum master, there's no wrong or right here. Try to find here the best structure for you. Important is the clarify stuff. So every ticket should be self-explaining. You can test it, by the way. Just send the ticket to a complete different person in the team who is not aligned to the project. Send the ticket, ask if they can understand the ticket completely. If not, improve your ticket. At the end, you should end up with a really good backlog in the right order, and the order is your prioritization. So what are the best practices now? Collaborate. So estimates come from the people doing the work. Time box it for yourself or when you do it as a meeting so that you're not overanalyze stuff. Maintain the definition of ready or done. That's a super important part. And then time box the effort here. By the way, it makes no sense that your backlog is completely ready. So focus on the top priorities, especially when you have a big backlog with a couple of 100 tickets. This could be totally useless work that every of these tickets is already perfect prepared. Because we learned before in the beginnings, in the starter sessions, a plan will change. So maybe your priorities change. Maybe the market change, maybe your customers change. So try to keep the top of your backlog up to date with the right story, right summary, right description, right estimation, and the definition of done. But don't do it for the whole backlog. This could be a totally waste of time. And this is also the first point on the pitfalls. So don't over-refining, spending time detailing items you might never work on. For getting stakeholders' input, the PO shouldn't guess alone, so also don't forget your stakeholders. Avoid endless debates with no clear outcome, or ignoring the technical debt until they pile up and slow down the whole development drastically. So focus on these pitfalls. From my experience, the over-refining is the biggest one. Stakeholder input, we learned before that the product owner is the connection point to the stakeholders. If something is unclear with the stakeholders, ask for it. When your stakeholders are your customers, which is in most of the cases the case, this could be also a super interesting way to involve them in the development process. What I'm doing from time to time with specific user stories, especially when they are coming from customers as a feature request, is that I include them in the refinement process. So I ask for a meeting with them and try to understand how the perfect feature will look like for them. This can be done on a very early stage, but it could be also done when you have, for example, wireframes or a pixel perfect design already ready. Avoid endless debates. I said earlier that discussions could be super valuable for the team and also for the features, because at the end, different opinions, when they are coming together, in most of the cases, the team decide for the best option. But you can also overrun this. So try to balance it, especially when you do the backlog refinement in a group. So take subject matter experts for definition of tickets or definition of done. Try to think about the effects of the ticket. So is it maybe possible to do an MVP-ish version of the story instead of doing the, for the next 100 years, perfect solution? Technical debt, trust here your developers. When your developers say we should work on technical debt, don't ignore it, put it on the list. There is sometimes a situation that product owners lead to the behavior to put technical debt always down, 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 because visible features are better for customers. But no, when your whole app is not running anymore because you ignore technical debt, you have a huge problem. And don't forget the snowball effect on this technical debt stuff. So let's jump into the live demo. If you're using Jira, open your backlog, filter by priority, ensure each story on the top has an estimate and an acceptance criteria, and break epics down. This makes sprint planning a breeze because everything is ready to roll. Let's check it how it looks like in Jira. So how to do now a backlog refinement or backlog grooming in Jira. So we are going back to our project and we have seen the backlog already in the sprint planning. So just go to the backlog, ignore the actual sprint here. So the backlog grooming should somewhere happen in the sprint, definitely not parallel to the sprint planning, because for the sprint planning, you need already a pre-refined backlog. So what you can see here is a relatively small backlog. It could be much bigger. Most teams have much bigger backlog with a 50, 60, 70 or a couple of hundred tickets. So important is that you maintain your priorities. Important is that you also have an idea which issues already on a good state and don't need to be refined again. So there is no good way in Jira for marking them already as refined. Some people use labels here. The problem with labels is that they are not visible here. So in the board settings, you can define the columns for your active board, but you can't define the columns for the backlog yet. That's maybe something what will come in the future. So my recommendation is here that you somehow remember until which point you have already refined your issues. What you easily can do is move issues around. So you can also do it here with a move to. You can move it to the sprints, but also to the top of the backlog or to the bottom of the backlog. As I said already, in planning, use best case really the priorities in the issues. So means when you open the issue, you have here these priorities because they are visible in every screen. You can use it in automations or other apps as well. You potentially, or you have maybe additional apps for risks and other things for the planning. Feel free to use them there. So in a situation where you use now Planning Poker or other apps, you normally pre-select a couple of issues, run into a Planning Poker scenario in a meeting, and then the tickets are estimated. We are doing it here now at the moment without an app. So let's assume we need to groom or we need to refine here these 3 tickets. So my recommendation is really open the ticket, discuss quickly and make sure that everybody in the meeting is on the same page here. So reflect the description and reflect the purpose of the ticket. If the description is not good, my recommendation is not now fixing everything in the meeting because you steal time from the attendees. Make sure that this stuff is prepared. And this is a clear task of the product owner, in some cases also of developers when they created, for example, tickets for technical debt. And then ask your team for the estimation, for the story point, for the 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on, and run from ticket to ticket. So you should make sure that you have the story points and also reflect the priority if the priority is still actual. It's absolutely fine that in some cases these change over time. So in some cases you have also issues a while in the backlog and you need to refine them. So also this is fine. Make sure that the top of your backlog is up to date, that you can easily pick the next tickets for the next sprint. I also want to show you how you can create a complete new ticket and how to manage it in Jira Product Discovery, because this is a new tool or a new product from Atlassian, which gives a complete environment to focus more on the visions for a product or ideas for a product, and it allows users to put normally these user stories, which should be already super technical, more in an idea vision description, how it should look like for a user. For this, I'm quickly switched to another project here to show you how we do it really in our production environment. So I'm now in product discovery. Product discovery allows you to have a lot of different use for your ideas. So these are all ideas here for the NASA app, for example. You can have them in different perspectives with different additional columns, like what is the impact, what is the effort, relatively similar structure. Check out Jira Product Discovery. I can't do it here in detail. I just want to focus on the ceremony here mostly, but it gives a super nice additional way to manage especially more complex products. So I just take here one example now of a feature, which is a team journal expert to Confluence. We are working at the moment on it on the NASA app. I can see it here. It's already in the delivery. And I just want to show you the structure of this idea. So what I have here is a summary of what the feature is. And then I structure it in a problem definition. So what is the current situation? That team journals are stored in the NASA app, but customers need to access the NASA app for it, and it's not somewhere in Confluence. So what is the solution? and what is the new functionality. So what is the gap between current situation and solution? So I have also here time and resource allocation. So this is a first rough estimation that this probably need 2 sprints. It defines which resources I need and what are potentially dependencies. What is the strategic alignment of the feature here? What are the potential business outcomes, KPIs? And then a solution description, more detailed, how it should look like for a user, and split it in functionalities, also how a manual export to Confluence should look like, what visual things I would like to have, so like a green icon and a clickable icon, and I want to have hover tooltips and so on. I need to have a settings tab enhancement, so I mention here all the screens which need to be adjusted for these features or need additional items. Then technical considerations, API integration, authentication stuff, all the stuff what I need here. This can definitely define together with developers when the technical knowledge is needed. I define what is risk out of scope, and I have a summary what is also my definition of done and some first screenshots from similar features or first mockups, wireframes or whatever. So a relatively detailed ticket. But this kind of ticket or the structure or the level of detail here helps a lot to avoid questions. This ticket I can also open in a year, and I'm relatively quick on point what I want to do with it. So don't make the mistake that you just have a summary, team journal, export to Confluence, because in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, this can mean everything. Go with a detailed structure as possible. It is more effort in the beginning, but it saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of time of the product owner to remember on these things, but also think about all your teammates who are opening the ticket, who are thinking about, should I work on it or not? Or what is here the goal? It also allows me, when I put this in delivery, so in my actual Jira project, to simple forward the ticket to my UI UX designer for starting with the design with the stuff. And as soon this person is finished, developers can start. So Jira Product Discovery, give it a try. I want to show you another cheat here, how to create these complex things on a relatively easy and good way. And I said already before that backlog refinement, backlog grooming is something what AI or where AI can be a big supporter. I already experimented with estimations of AI. It works super good. My developers don't like it so much so far, but I think it creates already relatively good estimations. But where it is really good is creating this stuff here. You can do it with Atlassian Rovo. I can't show it at the moment because Rovo is out of beta and I'm waiting for the activation in my instance here. So for this, I will show it to you with simple ChatGPT. So what I have now is, and I can also share this, I have a JPD Vision Creator. So the context here is, and excuse me, it's the menu here is in German, but the whole instructions are in English. So what I defined here, the personality, and then some custom instructions. And I explain the GPT that I want to have at the end, the structure, which I have shown you in JPD. So you can also develop your own structure here. And I give for every point also questions what it should prompt. So the idea here is that ChatGPT guides me in a more interview style through the feature definition, feature creation. So let's give it a try. So let's take as a use case here, we are in our project in the homepage creation part that I want to develop a new blog section for the new homepage where we're working on at the moment. So I'm a little bit too lazy to type. I'm using here another tool, Super Whisper, for not typing. That we are a little bit quicker. So I would like to create a new feature for our homepage. It should be a blog section that people or customers can see the latest news of our products and services. So, problem definition. So it starts already here and says, let's start with defining problems. Are customers currently unaware of the new products and updates? Is there a lack of engagement of existing communication channels? Do you have product news but no dedicated space? So it's asked here tons of questions. So let's answer the questions here. And the good point is, as better you answer the questions now, the quicker the process is at the end. So here are the answers to your questions. Are customers currently unaware of new product updates? Yes, it's heavily depending on emails at the moment or on our sales team. Is there a lack in engagement of existing communication channels? Yes, we don't have a blog at the moment as a communication channel. We want to open it to have more engagement. Do you have product news but no dedicated place to showcase it? Yes, exactly. As I said, just in emails and with our sales team. Will it help to stay informed about services? That's exactly the goal, what we want to achieve with the blog. Will it improve customers' trust and engagement? Hopefully, yes. Are customers frequently reaching out to support for updates? Yes, we have a lot of support tickets where people are asking for the new upcoming stuff. Are there missing important announcements? We don't know it yet. We need to experiment with that. Have users requested an easy way to stay updated? Yes, we see it also on the support tickets. Are there existing analytics showing that users engage with news elsewhere, but not on site? Yes, a lot of our competitors are super successful with blog articles. So here are now all the answers. So, and it has done now the problem definition. We have a clear understanding of the problem, time and resource allocation. How long sprints dedicate to develop the feature? Do you have a rough estimate? Do you need dedicated resources and so on? So also here, quick answers to it. So my hope is that we can finish it in 2 weeks. Yes, we need the UI UX designer for the layout of the blog. We don't have it yet. Yes, I think we also need front-end and back-end developer for the implementation. The content will be managed by people from the marketing team. I don't need an external CMS like WordPress, etc. So our homepage is developed by our own. It's self-made. There are no compliance or legal considerations because we are not have privacy data there. Will it require tools will it require integration in existing tools? No, so far we don't need integration in existing tools. It would be nice to have an RSS feed for the blog. So it helps me as a product owner to ask the right questions and defining the answers. So strategic alignment, more traffic to the homepage. And I can also do stuff like, based on my existing answers, please answer these questions yourself. And it will work. So let's fast forward here a little bit. So it creates now the strategic alignment here. I can check it. Page views, time spent on homepage, etc. Perfect. Means blog feature. Let's move to solution description. Yep, let's move to the solution description. So core functionality. So it creates now the key features here. Dedicated blog selection, clear engaging layout. Blog posts will include title, featured images, summary, need more links. It needs an RSS feed. Optional gives me some ideas. Search bar, tag categories, user interaction flow, some consideration. So it's writing now the complete stuff here. Next steps. Now we have a clear solution descriptions. Let's move to the technical considerations. Yes, perfect. Backend content management system here. So it says it needs a simple database and storage system. So it defines already front-end needs and back-end needs. Now front-end development, develop block section, UI and homepage, create a responsive layout, implement it more, lazy loading. So a lot of things what I haven't defined in the beginning is now coming here from a ChatGPT. Also here, the backend stuff is absolutely fine. Database setup, API endpoints, looks all good. RSS feed implementation, next steps, risk and scope, yes. So you can see, based on my initial more detailed answers to the problem and solution, it defines now already the whole idea of the block section. So we have a timeline risk. 2 weeks is challenging. So it gives me already an idea. That could be tough. It says maybe consider an MVP functionality. Then some other things here, out of scope features, user comments, full text search, personalized, MVP focus. Yes, I like your MVP approach. Let's take this. That's good. So now the final review and confirmation. So here's now the final summary of the ticket. I get my feature overview. I get the key MVP features, what I want to have. I have my timeline. I have out of scope. I have the next steps here in the idea and next actions. So this is already now something what I can use here. I can open my, let's jump back to our real project. Jira. Let's jump to our NASA project. Oops, sorry, that's not the right one. So I can jump to our project here and can go to the backlog and can create here a new ticket. It's really more a story, new block section or web page. Don't give story points at the moment, but here I have already the summary. Copy and paste, done. So what was it now? 5 to 10 minutes, but I created a complete description, including MVP needs, out of scope stuff. What is the definition of done? Which resources are needed? What is a potential time scope, and so on, in 5 to 10 minutes. And this is a quality of a ticket where people can work with. And this is also a quality of a ticket where people can remember in a year what we want to achieve with that. So I hope this was helpful for you. Backlog refinement, backlog grooming in Jira. How to do now a backlog refinement in NASA. I already started the app and I'm now in my meeting stream backlog refinement. So I created in the settings and with a new stream, separate stream for that. My questions are: review backlog items, prioritize user stories, what should we do now, what should we do next, and what should we do someday. So as you can see, I mixed here a little bit what I showed you in Jira and how I use Jira Product Discovery for it. At the moment, I don't have Jira Product Discovery tickets here because I'm not using it in this environment. But you can mix in NASA issues from different projects. So you can easily create here a view with your Jira Product Discovery stories and your Jira delivery tickets. So as I can see, my colleagues made already a little bit effort and they prepared the meeting. Andy prepared 2 items for the review backlog and also user prepared 2 items. So again, same structure. I foster people to prepare the meetings. That makes the meetings more successful and more valuable. Let's select 2 items from the backlog. I have here again the overall backlog view with my tickets. Defined again from the Scrum Master. And here I have the view of all backlog items without story points. So that's my Scrum Master role now. This allows me to also choose items, for example, from user or Andy admin. But they prepared the stuff already. I don't need to do it. It makes my life easier as a Scrum Master. So means I simply can pick now 2 items here. Let's take the create about us page and the add SEO metadata. So because I think as from a product owner perspective, this makes sense and I want to discuss it. I don't prioritize here something or add something here because that will happen in the live meeting, and also this stuff here is the live meeting. Again, I select my mood that everybody knows I'm happy, and I join the meeting. So now let's make sure that also user and the admin join the meeting. So I quickly add them. So that should be user. She's now popping up. Yes, you can see it here. And also quickly Andy admin is joining. Here we go. Andy admin is also there. So this makes always sure that their updates are in the meeting. So they can push their prepared stuff with this step to the meeting. And now I have a focused view for running the meeting. I can talk now direct with Andy. Hey, Andy, what should we review here? Configure the SL certificate so we can go in details. We have the possibility for adding more stuff here, more information. So we can, for example, define that a setup HTTPS for website, definition of done is SSL is working on the website. And then I can ask for estimates. I can ask Andy, but I have also user in the meeting. I can also ask for a group estimation. So it can be a small chat about it, and then they maybe say something like, okay, that should be 5 story points. I have also the possibility to change all the other fields here, like selecting the sprint already or the version. Again, for this, please do a proper Jira training. There are tons of more functionalities. We are sticking now how to run the ceremony. I mostly stick on, okay, is the definition here fine? And then should we discuss the story points? Then I somehow also discuss the should we prioritize the stuff. In most of the cases, these lists here are longer, and you're not putting everything to priority at the moment. But SSL is a security sensitive, so definitely we should do it. No, come on. Here we go. Now it's there. Now it's in prioritize user stories. Same for SSL certificate. I open it. It has already story. Oh, that's the same one. I moved the wrong one. Sorry. Back to this. Here we go. And the SSL one, please. Here we go. Database scheme. It has already story points. Now I can discuss with Andy why he picked it for this meeting. Potentially, he wants to discuss some technical details that, yeah, should be, I don't know, Postgres database or whatever. You're doing the stuff what is necessary that this ticket has a proper understanding. Best case scenario, like you prepared it in with ChatGPT or in a similar structure, that the tickets are complete. Also here, you can put this on priorities. So Andy's tasks are done here, and we run to the next points. So you're getting the idea. We're running from user to user, from story to story. We refine the story. We add more context to the story. So like the About Us page, I can also give here comments, for example, ideas for content are missing at the moment. So this is maybe a clear sign that we shouldn't pick this at the moment for prioritization. I decide also adding this as a comment to the issue, but I have it now here in the meeting. I don't want to prioritize it. Add the metadata is also something we should do on a later step after research. The idea is here that you have additional information to the issues which are important for your decisions in the meeting, but also maintaining the issues here on a point. So let's say it's 3 story points. So you're getting the idea, and also conduct access. So now use a user, accessibility testing. Here are some dependencies. So I have potentially some typos here. And this is also what we can manage here. So I can create now or add stuff, can link tickets and so on. So you can do all the stuff what you want to do, but you also can do in Jira. So we are leaving this here and test homepage responsiveness. We also want to prioritize. Wait, I forgot to look at this from the story point perspective. No story points. Here we go. It's a 3. Then we run through from issue to issue. I have now here my issues which I want to prioritize. I haven't picked anything from my side because the ideas are missing, research is missing. Here are some dependencies. So means we have 3 issues which were discussed now in the meeting, which are priority. Now we can easily sort them to when we want to do it. If you want to do the estimations in this part, that's also fine. I do it often direct when I review the backlog items. Now in the meeting, I can easily move that I want to test the homepage responsiveness now because it has potentially impact on design and so on. I want to set up the database scheme next. Makes technically not so much sense what I'm doing here at the moment. And configure the SSL certificate is not so important for me. We put on some date. I can now run also through these points, discuss it again. When I have, for example, scenarios like here, I can also change the order here to have more visual priority here in addition. I can check my priorities again. So say here, this one is a high one because it's a security one. This is also a high one, but maybe this one here is just medium, but we want to do it now. Let's say it has a higher priority and also immediately reflected in the NASA. So when I'm fine with the meeting and everybody agrees to the order in the backlog, here I stop the meeting. It creates now automatically the 3rd part of the app, the automatic documentation for the meeting. And this is now the additional value, which is hard to create in Jira. We have now a documentation with the additional comments, which is the additional context. So it's now super easy for me for going back a couple of weeks later and to remember why we made decision X, Y, Z when I get a question from the stakeholders or not, or and so on. So again, here, review backlog items. So that's still what we have in review. We reviewed them, they are fine. We prioritized the user stories and we said we want to do this now and next. So in my task now as product owner is simple reflecting this now in the backlog. But we are already sure here, and that's why I said use the priorities in the tickets, not just the backlog order, because this could be relatively quick chaotic. We set up here the priorities already, and in my next sprint planning, I can easily pick the right issues and put them into the sprint. So that's how you run a backlog refinement or backlog grooming in a meeting style. I'm also using this just for me. When I do a backlog grooming, I also jump into the meeting without user and without ND admin, because this allows me to left them more on the development side and working on the stuff. And when I think about new items, or also want to create new items, I can do it direct in the preparation or in the live meeting. So you have seen now how backlog refinement works in Jira and NASA Not Another Stand-Up. The takeaways are: refine regularly instead waiting for a meltdown. Involve the dev team for realistic estimates if needed. Keep it time boxed for yourself or when you do it in a meeting. And aim to ensure that the top items are